We're watching Clean Start's Cleantech meetup, our discussion with SMUD on virtual power plants and their My Energy Optimizer program. Please welcome Jillian Rich. Jillian Rich is a strategic business planner at SMUD. Before that, she was a manager at PG&E. She has spent her professional life accelerating the energy transition through building partnerships, energy efficiency programs, and education. Please welcome Jillian Rich.
Hi, thank you, Thomas. And thanks for having me. I'm really excited to talk today about SMUD's virtual power plants that we're standing up as we speak. Today, we'll cover what is a virtual power plant by SMUD's definition, because every utility has a slightly nuanced definition. And then we'll discuss why SMUD is launching a virtual power plant this year and what are the specifics of the pilots that we're launching, and lastly, who is eligible. And then I'm really looking forward to your questions. I should say a lot of this information is hot off the presses. I am in charge of overseeing our load flexibility portfolio of customer programs. And we've been really hard at work trying to launch these. Today was an exciting day because our new battery storage incentives, some of the information was released about them. So we'll get into that. And that's directly connected to these virtual power plant programs. So you're going to see a website that's only like 30 minutes old, in fact, and we'll get into that. So first, let's start with what is a virtual power plant. It is a distributed network of energy resources, such as battery storage, electric vehicles, and smart thermostats and other smart devices that replace a natural gas-fired power plant in our case. And so this was part of our zero carbon plan to have more flexible load resources instead of relying on natural gas, especially during our peak periods. It's very different for a utility to depend on these distributed resources, right? Instead of something reliable and known. These are assets that are owned by the customer. They aren't owned by SMUD. And so in mass, like we're sort of crowdsourcing energy, right? So like I like to akin it to, if you remember back in the day, you used to have Napster and you used to download a song from a specific source and it would always fail. This is more like the BitTorrent world, right? Where you're getting little pieces of energy from all over the community. And so it's rather exciting and something that as an organization requires some change in mentality. So why are we doing it? I think all of you on the call, because you've been hopefully part of these talks before, know about SMUD's zero carbon plan and how innovative it is for the nation. We do want to reach it by 2030 as a public utility. That's pretty unheard of. And the way we're going to do it is through these 4 pillars. The way the virtual power plant work fits in here is that 3rd pillar, new technology and business models. So the other ones, we're going to get rid of as much natural gas fired power as we can. We're going to have a lot of clean proven technology like utility scale solar and storage. But the new technology is about how we reach behind the meter and really tap into those assets. And so that's where we'll go into today, the pilots that we're launching this year that we'll hope to grow and scale and really become part of our operating bread and butter by the time 2030 rolls. Let's look at the numbers, because I think that's where the meat is, right? So on the left, you have our energy transition that comes along with 2030. So here we are in 2020 when we wrote our zero carbon plan. We were 55% carbon free. And then by 2030, we want to get to 100%. We have a little bit of a gap left that we need to fill with a lot of innovation, and we have some time and some plans around that. But you see in gray, the little gray wedge, that's what we're talking about here. Behind the meter, solar, storage, and distributed energy resources that we can tap into as the utility, where we can, I should say that where we partner with the customer. Where the customer gives us access to that distributed energy resources in return for usually utility bill savings. On the right, you see our capacity, so like our load stack. And so the gray again is are the programs that we're launching today to really encourage storage adoption, encourage solar adoption, et cetera, et cetera. And so For that, I'll just say that going back to the definition of a virtual power plant, something very important to SMUD is that the resource is guaranteed, that it's firm. And what that means is that we have an aggregator or someone between us and SMUD working to orchestrate the distributed energy resources to make sure that that power will in fact be delivered, and that there's a guarantee that we have contractually with that aggregator to make sure that it's truly delivered. Because the last thing we want to do is impact reliability. Reliability is huge for all of our customers. I'm a customer, myself included, especially now that we're all working from home. And so we need to make sure that if we're depending on the resource, especially during a peak period, that it's truly going to be delivered. There's no risk of say, a large amount of customers going ahead and saying, "Oh, I'm too hot. I'm going to turn down my thermostat," and then the load goes away. So we like to be as less risky as possible. So now we get into what the details of the virtual power plant. So we're really framing it as a win-win for the customer and SMUD. And the reason for that is because the customer is reducing their electric bill, they're improving their environmental sustainability. And if they're installing storage alongside their solar system, which we really, really want, where they're adding resiliency and maximizing their return on investment. And then by giving SMUD access to signal that storage device or signal their devices, they're assisting us in achieving our community zero carbon plan, which is good for us, good for the community, to have that carbon-free, reliable power. So who is eligible? Residential customers. We're not sure about commercial yet, but the majority of our customers are residential. And so that's where we're starting. And what exactly are the devices that will be eligible for the program? To start off this year, just smart thermostats and battery storage. We will add electric vehicle chargers or electric vehicles themselves via telematics in 2 years. And we have some small research demonstration projects that we're launching this year to build towards that more mass market or large scale offering. How much? So the incentives are $50 to $250 per kWh of battery capacity. So that's a max of anywhere from $500 to $2,500, and we'll get into the details of those later. And then thermostats are $50 per household, and there are incentives along the way, of course, because you're partnering with SMUD. You know, we're getting benefit from your device to have cleaner resources on the grid. So there's compensation for that throughout, like every year, an annual sort of payment mechanism. Okay, and then lastly, when the storage in 5 days, if you apply for storage on or after March 1st, you're able to apply for the new storage incentives. And then the programs will be up and running in a few months by the time those storage systems are online. And then thermostats, we're going to launch by June 1st. So let's talk about the thermostat customer experience specific to SMUD. So for this one, we chose Uplight as our technology aggregator, and they're providing load flexibility through device automation. This is a really classic program. It's not anything truly new. Utilities across the nation have done bring your own device type programs for automated demand response. Again, the really only new part here is that we're having the same implementer for storage and thermostats, and then adding electric vehicles later with the hope that they can orchestrate all three devices to really firm up and guarantee that load shed. So that's the pilot that we're really getting at, is can someone with multiple distributed energy resources under their purview help synchronize them in order to firm the load and give us longer durations of load shed. And so that's what we'll be researching over the next 2 years. In the meantime, our customers will hopefully have a great experience, because this is sort of a tried and true customer program where we call peak events, just like flex alerts that you get in California. We would call our own SMUD peak events. You'd get a text, you get an email, whatever you prefer, and it'd say, hey, tomorrow from say, I don't know, 7 to 9 p.m., we're having a peak alert. And so please do your best to shed load. But we'd make it easy for the customer because their thermostat would automatically pre-cool the home before the event occurs, and then turn the thermostat up like a couple degrees, I think 2 to 3 degrees, depending on your preferences. And so it'd be sort of set it and forget it. That should do the trick. And then there's also, for customers who do really well in this program, select ones will be signed up for a new rate called critical peak pricing that you can kind of think as of time of use or time of day on steroids. It gives you higher highs and lower lows during those peak events so that you can have bill savings as well as your ongoing benefit. And then let's go over batteries real quick, because I think that there's a lot of solar and battery customers on the line. So this is our virtual power plant. The new name for it, drum roll please, is called My Energy Optimizer. We always let our customers pick our programs, our program names. We have a panel that where they vote. And so about 500 customers weighed in, and My Energy Optimizer was the winner. So I like it because we are working with you to optimize the way you use energy in order to optimize for carbon, for money savings, you name it. So here are the 3 levels. There's starter, partner, and partner plus. If you have a battery, you can sign up for these things. They require you moving on to the solar and storage rate, which is SMUD's new NEM replacement, energy meter replacement. They're all per kWh. So these are the maximums. So it's $50, $150, and $250 per kWh. The starter is pretty much just synchronizing it for our time of day rate, which a mode it should already be in. So it's sort of just an incentive. And then the partner and partner plus are where you really get into the mutually beneficial relationship. With partner, we'll be calling peak events only in the summer. So if you're the kind of customer that only wants to be bothered in the summer or doesn't really want to sign up for the full partner plus, then that's a good middle ground. It signs you up for that critical peak pricing rate where you get the on-bill benefits from signing up for those peak events and then using your storage during the peak event to power your home instead of using the grid. And then Partner Plus is a program we're launching right now. I don't have too many details about it because it's currently out for solicitation. And so that one, the request that we've put out to the industry is that we use leverage the storage system more on a regular basis throughout the year. And so they're truly a partner with SMUD for our clean power vision. See, where are we heading? My last slide. This was a chart from our zero carbon plan that I stole, and a lot of the terminology in it has changed, I should say. But the key thing I wanted you to see is we're in that gray zone. And I love that they picked the color gray because it is really gray. We're testing a lot of things, making sure again that we can really rely upon these virtual power plant resources to make sure we have safe and reliable energy. But then in 2023-24, our intent is to make a decision and scale it up. As you can see at the bottom, we have a pretty large increase in load that we want to have come from virtual power plants as we get towards 2030. So I'm excited for the moonshot. I'm excited to partner with our customers. I think all of us, just speaking on a personal note, look for something we can do that's new for the climate to help with the state that we're in. And so I think that we're trying to make this an easy way to join up. And so I'm happy to take questions, but I'll stop there for my content. Thanks, Thomas.